like, well, not probably like most people I meet, it was relatively passive. I was on it because somebody said I should be. I was connecting with people I sort of knew that were asking to connect with me. And about 3 years ago, I started to look at it more seriously. I started to look into it as to what it was about and hook up with a few people that were getting results from it. And as a business coach and as a marketing expert, if you like, I realised that A, it was so simple, and B, I'd just been missing a trick because I'd just not paid attention to it. And LinkedIn was formed 11 years ago by a couple of guys who literally just said, let's share our little black book of connections together, and why don't we share it on this platform? And now that we've done that, why don't we, what do you want, Spike?
You switch microphone on.
Oh, that would help, wouldn't it?
Green light, green to go.
Anybody at the back not heard that first 3 minutes? Cool, told you I didn't need a microphone. Thanks. And the code is 3110 in case that camera goes off. I'm only recording it for myself. And I realised that it was so obvious. So 11 years ago, two guys got together and said, let's share our connections. And then they said, well, why don't we invite our connections to do the same? So here's a few things to write down, because what I want to do, those of you that are not on it, I want to inspire you and urge you to think about getting onto it and how you might be able to use it and avoid missing the opportunities you're avoiding. And those of you that are on it but not really engaging with it, I want to inspire you to do the same. And that was sort of 11 years ago, and it's grown from there. So originally, here's my take on LinkedIn, and there's a lot of preconceived perceptions out there and different ideas, and I want to knock some of them out. First of all, I want to urge you just to keep an open mind for the next 30 minutes and ask yourself, how could I apply this? I hear lots of things. I hear, oh, it's just an online CV. No, it isn't. Remember how I've just said it was set up. Although 60% of LinkedIn's revenue that now has 6,000 employees around the world, I think, or in Europe, 60% of its revenue is from corporate businesses advertising vacancies of jobs. And that surprised me. I only read that the other day, because 20% of its revenue is people upgrading to a premium service. Although I'll explain why you don't really need to do that initially. I'll give you enough to go away and do. And the other 20% of the revenue is from pay-per-click advertising, like you get on the internet. So it is huge in the job market. I've coached a redundant sales manager to find work through the use of LinkedIn. I've spoken in front of people on how they can go get jobs. I've worked with a business owner whose sole way of just recruiting was just through LinkedIn. And if you look at that side of it, you'll see the massive amount of employers that are global that are using LinkedIn. So yes, it is, but that's not the reason that it is. And then the other comment to get is, oh, people just sell to me. Yes, they do, and they're doing it wrong. Because here's my definition. LinkedIn is an online networking platform, an online networking tool. So whatever rules apply in this room out there earlier, provided you know how to network professionally, and there's a challenge for a lot of people, it's predominantly the same rules, with just online. So if you look at it that way, and then the other way to look at it is the most powerful, I'm going to show you how, it's the most powerful tool today to be able to find, connect in the right way, and engage with your ideal connection. I'm going to show you how. So when I realised this, I started using LinkedIn in my own business to get business coaching clients for myself, sales training, gigs, speaking engagements. I started getting business for myself through the use of LinkedIn. And then the natural progression was obviously to coach my clients to do the same. Then what happened was really I started getting asked for and started selling LinkedIn training and workshops and coaching programs as a separate revenue. To the point that over the last 2 years, in December of last year, I had the best invoicing month I've ever had in 11 years, and I say that to sort of impress upon you, not to impress you particularly. But I invoiced 10 grand, I had the best invoicing month I've ever had in 11 years. And I've had a great business as a business coach over the last decade. I invoiced 20 grand, and 50% of it was direct LinkedIn workshops, training and coaching programs. And I got to the point, and I had 2 other people come to me that were LinkedIn trainers saying, can you help me franchise? My experience is franchising. I've been in franchises, I've coached franchisors and franchisees. And they said, will you help me to franchise it? I thought, brilliant. And then they quickly realised that it's a massive shift from what they were doing to what they were doing, and they realised they didn't want to do it. At the same time that I had the best month in 11 years history, and I came home and said, I'm missing a trick, we need to do that. So Mary, my partner, and I have started to franchise the LinkedIn training and coaching side of the business. So we're now looking for people who want to become world-class trainers and coaches. And so part of the reason that I speak is because it fits. With what I like about property investors is they're open to other opportunities, they're open to revenue streams. Whereas you talk to probably a typical business owner out there, and they're probably just focused on generating leads for their product. And I think there's a subtle difference with investors. And also coaches. Raj and I, where's Raj? Raj. Raj is a great property coach. He's coached one of the top winners of Mastermind, and he and I are working on his LinkedIn profile and his LinkedIn strategy to not only look for property deals, but also to look for coaching clients. So if you want to know how to put a LinkedIn coach on, you can speak to him. If you want to know how to put a business coach on, you can speak to Tracy on the front, because we've also worked together in the past. I read your book last weekend while I was in the Gower Coast in the sun. It moved me to tears, so you really need to speak to Tracy. So that's where we're at, and that's why. And one of the things is there are now 15 million personal profiles in the UK alone. And I say personal profiles because it's networking. People buy from people. And I say that LinkedIn is about finding, connecting, and engaging with your ideal connection. As property investors, you're a little different, aren't you? Yes. You're weird, aren't you? Aren't we? Yeah. Because most business people just want their ideal sales prospect. But big property investors, they might be looking for cash investors, they might be looking for vendors, they might be looking for financiers, they might be looking for, I don't know, builders, tradespeople, lawyers. And LinkedIn is ideal for finding and connecting with those people. So I've now coached a bunch of other masterminders, pin hosts, property people. I've coached Gavin Barry, who hosts one of the London pins, who just wanted to find property developers in London and hook them up with his cash investors in the Far East. So you've got cash investors in China, Malaysia, Singapore, etc. Perfect. So there are now 15 million personal profiles in the UK. And that's pretty stunning, isn't it? Considering there were only, I think, something like 10 million 4 years ago. And so it took, what did I say, 11 years, it took 7 years to get from 0 to 10 in the last 4. So I believe it's reached what I call critical mass. What you will see in any sort of business and any sort of growth curve. You know what I mean by critical mass? Things sort of grow and they sort of bumble along. If this is time and this is numbers, it sort of bumbles along, and then it reaches a point where it sort of takes off. And that was probably about 2010 in the UK. Globally, there are over 300 million personal profiles on LinkedIn. People are now using LinkedIn to search for people and find people. And if you're not on LinkedIn or utilising it effectively, then you're missing an opportunity. Your LinkedIn profile, if done correctly, will also get found at some level on Google. So if you Google my name, third or fourth up is my LinkedIn profile. So if you're not on LinkedIn or engaged properly on it, you're missing opportunities for people that are looking for you. So the first thing, if I now want, I had somebody the other day said, mate of mine, I see you franchising. Who's your franchise lawyer? So I just connected the two of them on LinkedIn. If people are looking for lawyers, the first step they're going to do is go and look on LinkedIn. They may then look on the internet, because what's the most powerful strategy in the world is mouth-to-mouth referral, isn't it? And this is really just online networking and online referral. So I had a client of mine who's the general manager of one of the Regis offices saying, you don't happen to know a lawyer who speaks English but versed in Portuguese law. I said, are you trying to test me or what? And within 2 days and 4 steps, I got him somebody. Because I just put it out to 2 lawyers I know on LinkedIn, and they hooked up with him and then referred him to somebody else. Have you heard of the 6 degrees of separation? Yeah. The 6 degrees of separation says we are no more than 6 steps away from anybody in the world. And there's been all sorts of studies and tests to prove it. If you Google that now, Google says with LinkedIn it's probably nearer 3 degrees. In other words, I can get to anybody in the world because I'm connected to somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Make sense? And I'll show you that in a moment. Because here's the thing, I have 2,500 first-tier connections. If Michael and I are connected, we're classed as first tier. If Michael's connected to Rob, but I'm not, Rob is Michael's first tier connection, but Rob is my second tier through Michael. Does that make sense? And I have 2,600 first tier connections that gives me 1.3 million second tier connections. How many business prospects and sales prospects and vendor prospects do you want in your lifetime, or 10 lifetimes of Doctor Who? I don't have to go to third tier. Who does that stagger? Oh dear, I've got some proving to do. Okay. Staggers you, thank you, Michael. And I'm going to show it that it's going to stagger a few others in a moment, because there is nobody you cannot source. There's 2 sides to LinkedIn, and I want you to sort of make notes on this really. First of all is your personal profile. Your profile has to be powerful enough to get found. Remember I said people are searching on LinkedIn, but see at the bottom, LinkedIn is brilliant for suggesting other people you may know. And I'll come on to other parts of it. So your profile needs to be powerful enough to get found. Then it has to prove credibility. Then it has to give value to the reader. Because we're in a busy world right now. And there's a great book called The New Experts by a guy called Robert Bloom. It's all about how we are as consumers, as buyers now. Tell me if this resonates with anybody. You walk into a store and you say, I want to buy your yellow widget, and the kid behind the counter says, we don't do it in yellow, and you go, but it's on your website. So you better go speak to your sales manager. Better still don't bother, I'll go somewhere where I'm cared for. Anybody experienced that? So if you're doing due diligence on the stuff you're buying, do you think people are doing due diligence on you before they decide to take your below market value offer, or before they decide to work as a JV cash investor with you? People can do more due diligence just like that on the internet, faster and in a way much deeper than we've ever been able to do before. So you have to be found, and you have to give value, and you have to prove credibility. And LinkedIn is ideal to this, and I'll show you how. The second part of the equation is what you then do proactively, regularly on a daily or weekly basis, to go out and find, remember what I said about LinkedIn, to find, connect with in the right way and engage with your ideal business contact. There's no point going out to find somebody and engage with them when they look at your profile and it's pretty weak and terrible. Make sense? So it's sort of two-part loop. So I want to give you some key things, and I can only scratch the surface in a few minutes. I want to give you some key things around how to create a powerful profile that will stand out. I have, at the back of the room, I've got a form here, and I've got, apparently, who was it that said I already got it? Who said? Said, I've been up all night looking at your 9 points to creating a powerful personal profile. If you tick the box on there, I'll get back to the office, I'll send it to you as a PDF download, you can have it. It's online for sale somewhere, apparently, although you can get it free as well, for a tenner. But I'll send it you, because that's, Spike said, if you're going to come and speak to my PIP members, you've got to give them value. And I'm saying this because when I coach somebody and work with somebody one-on-one across LinkedIn, I say, I want you to wear two hats. Because the stuff I talk about is what you should be considering elsewhere in the business, in your investing and your marketing. So I'm not just going to teach you LinkedIn, I'm going to teach you where else could you be applying it. So if you haven't heard me mention the word value at least 3 or 4 times already, then you're not quite getting the message. So if you want that PDF download, just let me know. Here's a couple of key things. One is your photograph. If you know any good photographers, they need to give you a photograph of how you would be expected to be seen when you're meeting your business contact. Now, I do this for a reason. The jury's out, okay? I'm a marketeer. I get introduced to someone a bit bizarre and I want to stand out. Do I change the photograph or do I change the beard? It's a rhetorical question. But it needs to be a photograph, simply head and shoulders shot with a clean background. Not like an accountancy client of mine, which is a photo of her sat outside a tent at Glastonbury. Is that really how you want to be seen when you go and meet someone to do tens, hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of business? So you need to think about that. Your name as you want to be called. Here's a thing, if there's anybody in the room who's very, very proud of all the studying they've done and all the letters after their name, there's a place further down your profile for that. This is a marketing tool for you to build credibility and give value. Letters after your name is a bit of an ego thing. Here's the thing to consider when you're putting anything together. Anybody in marketing heard of WIFM? WII FM radio station. What's in it for me? You need to write something. You need to put yourself in the reader's shoes and ask yourself, what's in it for me? If you send me anything, if you go, hey Andy, I've updated my profile, will you have a look? I'm going to read it, so I urge you to do it first, and as I read it, I'm going to be asking, so what? Because if you've got Andy Gwynn, ISMM, CR, MBA, CRAP, I don't care. I want to know, can you make me money? Can you save me time? Can you save me stress? Can you give me better relationships? Can you make me more money? Can you make me more money? I want to know what's in it for me. Does that make sense? So you lose the letters after your name. LinkedIn's brilliant. There's a space further down. Key thing, the bit underneath your head, underneath your name is known as the headline. The headline is the bit that gets seen in searches. The headline is the bit that you will see on Google when you Google my name. That headline has to say what you do. And it has to give value. It has to say what you do. I am building a franchise network of passionate coaches and trainers. It's got to grab attention. Then you can put star, LinkedIn trainer, conference and keynote speaker. So you can have some search terms, because I'm going to show you how you can search on LinkedIn. So it has to say what you do, not I'm managing director of ABC Properties and I've been in business 39 years and we're big enough to coach, small enough to care, we. Stop weeing over the people you want to do business with from now on, okay? Does that make sense? Does that make sense more than to Michael, who's getting great value? Cool. Do you know how much I normally charge people that I don't like as much as Spike to come and deliver this? Cool. The next bit I just want to show you. You are really going to get the key things in a whistle-stop tour. The next bit underneath is your summary. Your summary can now say more about what you do, and it has to be in the you language. Here's what you can get. Here's what you can get from being one of my franchisees. A highly leveraged income in a market that has massive demand, products and services that people want to buy. World-class support, helping you become a great trainer, coach and speaker. What is it you do for the people you're looking to do business with? A couple of other tips. Make it personal. I've said this is your personal profile. So if you're ex-corporate or big corporate, lose the corporate speak. My brother is commercial property lawyer for Travis Perkins Group. So he doesn't just do corporate speak, he does legal speak. Make it personal. Hello and thank you for taking the time to visit my profile. At the bottom I've got, and I'm also a keen scuba diver and motorcyclist, in case you haven't gathered. Might put some people off who don't like bikers. Probably never do business with you anyway, so I don't really care. But make it personal, okay? You've got lots and lots of space to do that. What is it people are going to get from doing business with you, okay? I'm going to skirt through. You'll see a load of uploads and a load of videos on here. That's about giving credibility and about giving value. But here's one of the biggest things about LinkedIn. Who here gets word-of-mouth referral business? Only a few of you. Damn. Thought this was the networking legendary capital of the world. Keep your hands up if you get word-of-mouth referral business. Keep your hands up if you have if that's the easiest business to sell to. Yeah, cool. Keep your hands up then, knowing that you get that business and it's the easiest to sell to if you have a consistent strategy in place to ask every single client for a referral. Oh. Why not? I've got a blog, by the way, on our 3degreessocial.co.uk website, the 5 most streetwise marketing strategies that cost you very little. One of them is a referral strategy. Because it never ceases to amaze me because we talk about referral business, but here's the powerful thing. We know that testimony, third-party testimony sells. Spike stood up here and said, Andy's really great, you need to listen to him. If I walked into the room and said, I'm really great, you need to come and see me speak, probably do that, wouldn't you? Yeah, right. So third-party testimony sells. But here's the thing, who has written testimonials from their clients or from people they've done business with in the past? Damn, keep your hands up, you've got video testimonials of your clients saying how awesome you are. Damn, we're in 2014, guys. In 2005, I was at a conference in Fiji and a great guy called Jeffrey Gittimer, who's a New Yorker, top sales author, guy and speaker, told us why we should be getting video testimonials. Here's the thing, let's say you're looking for joint venture cash investors. Let's say you're an accountant, you've got a website. Who's got their own website? Who's got a website? Okay, imagine if I found your website, imagine if I found your competitor's website and then immediately on there some video testimonials saying, these guys are really great, they made me lots of money, they were great to work with, they saved me lots of time, they took all the stress away. And then I find your website and there's no video testimonials. Who am I going to call? Ghostbusters? Yeah. You're not, people are not even going to contact you if they can't get that credibility straight away. Here's the powerful thing about LinkedIn. But LinkedIn call them recommendations, you and I call them testimonials. Steve Taylor, I've worked and known Andy for several years. Initially he coached me when I was running Action Motorcycles. He's very professional, loves to see the people he works with get great results. Andy's sense of fun and integrity made it a no-brainer for me. We'll want to work with him at 3 degrees. I have no regrets. The training has been superb with fantastic backup. Would you like to come and talk to me about my franchise? Have you read that? Now what you can do is go click on Steve's profile, go into his profile on LinkedIn and contact him and say, hey Steve, tell me, is it true? Tell me warts and all. By the way, could you help me do this and this? Name me another media where you can do that, because on your website, if you've got written testimonials, could you fabricate them? Can the reader get in touch with that person? No. You can go on my website, see my video testimonials, but you can't get in touch with the people whose business it is. But now, this is what I call client-generated content. Now, if you look at that, it says Andy's received 107 testimonials. What's your immediate view of the credibility that I've got? So one of the things you need to do is capture recommendations. One of the other things I know, because we've largely been talking about this, haven't we? How many of you are top-performing business people, entrepreneurs and property investors that beat themselves up and give themselves a hard time over the level of performance that you're doing? Nod. Everybody in the room nod. It's a human trait of top performers. So guess what? Brad and I have just been talking about it. He said, I've just had another testimonial come in from a client that I coached through their property, and it's just stunned me. It's nearly brought me to tears. I said, good, keep reading it. So there's a secondary gain. It's bloody good for me to realise I'm doing a good job. More importantly, my prospects can see those, find them and go, look at them. I had a guy ring me up a couple of years ago, can you help me train my sales team? I said, yeah, I can. Where did you get my name from? He said, I found your website. I said, well, there's a million sales training websites. What made you call me? He said, I saw your video testimonials and thought it must be good. Oh, great, thanks. Just out of interest, how many other people have you called? None, why? Oh, no reason, let's meet up. And I got the business. So if you're not embracing this, you're missing out massively. Does that make sense? Fantastic. We're running out of time. I want to show you one thing. I want to prove something to you. And this, for me, is the power of it. Give me, let me go on someone else's profile. What are you under? Paul Spike or Paul?
Both, actually. Paul Spike Reddington, I think.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Paul Spike. There he is, look. Handsome looking fella. How did you get that photo from? Is that a selfie?
Long arms.
Long arms, slow internet. Come on.
You said you're into scuba diving and
Biking, but not at the same time. Yeah. I have ridden a bike to the dive site and then gone and dived and come back, thrown my kit in someone's van and ridden back. Is that what you're going to ask? Yeah. Your internet connection is really great. When that speeds up, here we go. Look at that good looking fella. Here, actually I didn't need to do it. There's an advanced search here. LinkedIn is free to access. You do not need to upgrade from day one, particularly. Give me a type of person that you want to connect with. Mortgage broker. Okay. I was going to say that's easy. Let's do it. Let's put it into keywords. Mortgage. Isn't that Latin for until you die? It is apparently, isn't it? Engaged until death. Mortgage. Right. Here's the thing I'm going to do, okay? I'm going to go, my postcode. I'm overcomplicating it. 10 miles. Now what this is doing, I haven't gone, I could go finer. This is searching all of my first tier, second tier and third tier connections and group members. In fact, what I really want to prove to you is if I unclick group of members, because I belong to a group that's an info group about LinkedIn and it's American based and there's 40,000 members, so it sort of skews the numbers. You can see there's 1.77 million results there. Now, what we've done is just search mortgage broker within 10 miles of where I live. So what this is doing is searching all my first and second tier connections for the words mortgage broker in their profiles. Does that make sense? Which is why your headline needs to have in there search terms and your summary needs to be full of search terms. And this, yeah. I've got 19 results of mortgage broker here. Michael Harris, mortgage broker at Point Me To. He's a second tier connection, it says there. It says I have 14 shared connections. So I can click on those. Now you love the Belfries internet. And I can go, Paul Rhodes, he's a client of mine. I was with him, I was playing poker with him on Friday. So let's go, Mike, Freddie Gordon, I know him as well. I could pick up the phone to these guys. Let's say I have 2,600, there's somebody I don't really know. I could message them and I could say, hey Paul, I notice you're connected to Michael Harris. I'm really looking to connect with him because I'd like to talk about mortgages with him. Could you introduce me? What's he going to do? I know him. Paul, I can ring Paul up. Hey Paul, you're connected to Michael. How well do you know him? Oh, I know him really well. Here's his mobile. Give him a call, tell him you've spoken. How quick is that? Now, I might have to weed through a bit of chaff. Sales manager Adam Jones, IMS Insurance and Mortgage Services. Maybe he's not a mortgage broker, but Julie Feeney, I know her husband. We've got 205 shared connections. How easy is that for me to get to? So within 10 miles of where I live, there are 19 profiles. They're not all going to be ideal. There are 19 profiles of people with the word mortgage broker. I had a guy yesterday, the last week or so, who was looking at my franchise. He said, I don't really get LinkedIn. Are you telling me you can search for people if I wanted to? And he stuttered. He went, if I wanted to get to cake makers. I went, you really are testing me, aren't you? 4 first and second tier connections of mine in the UK. I wasn't brave enough to do 10 miles. 4 first and second tier connections. In their headline, their job description, their title, their business was cake maker. I had a guy who said, I'm a health and safety consultant, I've just come back from the US, I want to speak over in the US in front of other health and safety consultants in Ohio. So we got online, we got the zip code, 42 first and second tier connections of people with the word health and safety consultant or the American derivative. I've just had a property investor from Worcester Pin came up to me and said, I've got a proposition around property that I want to take to the building societies about them buying lots of property or doing some sort of massive strategic deal. He said, I want your help to present it, first of all. And I said, well, do you know that it's a good enough proposition? Do you know that there's a need? He said, well, not really. And I said, well, you need to do a bit of market research. Who do you need to speak to? He said, well, ideally, directors or chairman, or ex-directors or chairman of one of the small building societies, one of the small local regional ones. I said, which ones? He said, well, these three are ideal. I said, buy me breakfast, we'll sit down for an hour. I found him 10 within an hour, and I introduced him personally to two of them. I didn't know them, but I said, hey, Michael, I've got a client, a friend of mine, who's got a proposition that he wants to see whether the building societies might be of interest. He wondered if he could just maybe buy you lunch around half an hour of your time to ask your professional opinion as an ex-director of such and such a building society. And he's got the conversation with them. I wanted to get to the national... Anybody else here in sales? Ah, damn, everybody put your hand up. Anybody married? Put your hand up if you're married. Great sales job. I know this is not the agenda, but you've got to get over this thing about sales if you're in property investing, because we are all salespeople. Different subject next time I come back and speak, Spike. People's limiting beliefs around their perception of sales. Where the heck was I? I got to.
Who's in sales?
Huh?
Who's in sales?
Who's in sales? I don't know. Building societies. Anyway, we got to two of them. And he's gone and had conversations. He's put connection requests out, and we're sort of communicating through LinkedIn. Oh, that's the word. You've got to be good enough to sell to your contacts. What LinkedIn will do is get you to find, connect in the right way, and engage with. Because once you're engaged, you're on the phone. You've got engagement. You can go see them and do the business. You've got to be good enough to sell to them, is what I say. I wanted to get to the national training manager of a PLC, of an insurance brokerage. I went on LinkedIn, you can look up the company, you can see all the employees that are associated with that. I found the national training manager, I sent him a message, here's how to connect in the right way. You can tick we've done business together as long as your opening sentence is powerful. And my opening sentence said something like, I'm just wondering, ideal, I've met with a guy at one of your Worcester branches, one of your local branches, just wondering if you'd like to connect. Hey Michael, came across your profile, always looking to connect with passionate property investors. They've only got to tick yes. He accepted. So within 2 hours, I sat down, I found him, I connected with him, he accepted. I went back to him and said, would you be interested in talking about how I could help your sales teams achieve more? He came straight back to me and said, I'd love to, here's my mobile, will you call me tomorrow at 10 o'clock? Name me, those of you that are in sales, another way that you can find, get to, and get their permission for a phone call. No more cold calling. No more cold calling estate agents or bowling through their doors trying to create rapport. You find the proactive, passionate ones on here, and you engage with them to be then be able to go and see them with permission. Who does that excite? Ah, a few more. Cool. I'm running out of time. So it's about how to find, connect, and engage with. Here's another quick tip. You will get people asking to connect with you. I connect with everybody unless you've only got 1 or 2 connections, no photograph, and you're a student at Kuala Lumpur University. That happened a month or so ago. Because it's not just you I want to get to. You might only have a couple of 100 connections, but now I've got access to your second tier connections. Remember, 1.3 million. I don't have to go to third tier. I've done it once this calendar year for a client friend of mine. And it was somebody in the music industry in America. Here's what happens when someone asks to connect. You accept. And then you go back to them and you go, thanks for connecting. Just wondering what interested you to do so and how I might be able to help. Probably 80. What would you do if you got that message from me? I don't know. I'm just connecting because I'm on LinkedIn and I should be. But I want the 2 out of 20 who go, an Australian guy did it the other month. And he came back and said, I'm always looking for great speakers. Engagement. Really? In what way? Well, I want speakers. Fantastic. Do you want a Skype call? Let's hook up. So we've had a conversation. Haven't gone to Oz yet, but we've now got engagement. I've got engagement with someone I didn't even know existed, who's probably looking to book me. So there's your stock answer. Thanks for connecting. I just wondered what interested you to do so and how I might be able to help. Now, if you do not connect with me on LinkedIn after tonight, and you do not enroll and get a profile for free and then connect with me, you need shooting. Spike has my permission to shoot you because when you connect with me, remind me of tonight. Because I might come back to you and go, thanks for connecting, what interested you to do so and how can I help? But if you don't, by connecting with me, you immediately grow your second tier by 2,600 connections. Who does that excite? Because here's my other offer to you. Go look at my connections. If there's anyone I can introduce you to, I'm happy to do it, because I love Spike to bits, and I know statistically, even though this is a room of top achievers, probably 2% will do that. Here's the challenge. Somebody said to me, what's the difference between top achievers and not so achieving? Top achievers just do what other people don't. So if you want my 9 points to a powerful profile, just tick this. If you want some more help and you think actually you should be engaging like people like Rogers, LinkedIn is a major part of my communication and marketing strategy every day and every week. Tick the box, we can have a chat about how I can help you with that. And if you think you want to make anything up to 100 grand a year plus full-time, pro-rata part-time, also teaching people and coaching people how to use LinkedIn while building your property network of contacts, and you want to talk to me about the franchise business opportunity, tick that, I'm happy to do that. It's been a whirlwind tour because I've got people with time. I can talk to you for hours and hours about this. I hope it's been of value. Connect with me and let me know however I can help, and I'll be happy to. I wish you all the best with your property investing. Thank you.
Whoa, was that pretty cool, folks? Yeah. 3 Degrees Social. Yeah, that's your company, isn't it, Andy?
It is.
Pretty cool. You get it? 3 Degrees? When will we see you again?
Not the 1970s.